Thanks everyone for joining us in this webinar series. In this video, we are going to talk to you about your diet by summarizing what the past 50 to 60 years of research has told us. So the key messages we want you to get from this webinar are that your diet actually influences your child's diet and their relationship with food, which is why we're talking about you. Despite what we say though, you still are the expert on your family and your family's situation. So anything we say in these videos is just a guide, and you should feel free to adjust our recommendations to suit you and your family. Before we begin, if you need to pause the video to read any of the slides in more depth, please do so because we might skip through some of the finer details. So, who are we? We are Kiri and Nadia. We are final year dietitian students from the University of Sydney. So for the last 6 weeks, we've been enjoying our placement working with Emmanuel Anglican College. Specifically, we've been working with Mrs. Annette's Year 9 Food Tech class. So we've been teaching them about positive messages, about how food is a resource to fuel our bodies, our minds, and really focus on the benefits of a balanced diet. But there is so much evidence to support that even with school nutrition interventions, the parent's diet has such a strong impact on what a child eats, even for teenagers. Looking at one of these studies in more depth, they found that every single time this topic was researched in teens, the more fruit and veg the parents ate, the child would follow and eat more fruit and veg too. And all studies found that if parents limited their sugary drinks, so did their kids. So the research strongly shows that the biggest impact you can have on your teen's diet is actually your own diet. Because let's be real, most kids don't care about getting high blood pressure or diabetes in 40 years because they currently think they're invincible. But before we get into the content, we really want to reinforce that you are still the expert of your family. What we say isn't a rule book to be followed to the T. It's only a guide, and at the end of the day, Nadia and I don't know the first thing about being a good parent. But we can acknowledge it is the most difficult job in the world, and we really don't want to create feelings of shame or guilt because there is no perfect diet. So let's get into what healthy eating looks like. Take it away, Nadia.
Thanks, Kiri. So healthy eating is more than just eating an apple a day to keep the doctor away, or eating more vegetables even when you don't like them. It's having a positive relationship with food, listening to your body, and accepting a wide variety of foods. Let's first look into eating all food groups. This is the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating, which you may have seen before, but it's basically the government's attempt at summarizing 60 years of research, 55,000 studies into one practical guide. It is currently under review, but we expect that the core health principle will remain that if you eat a variety and a good balance of these main food groups, you should meet all your requirements. Now, all these food groups are critical. They each play a role in our health. So starting off with the often demonized grains group. This group largely contains carbohydrates, which are essential for brain function. Research around whole grains is showing it to be as important as fruit and veg for your health, particularly your heart health. So we really don't want to miss out on this group. Meat and alternatives mainly contain protein, which we know is used for muscle growth, but a revolutionary study was done in 2005 that showed that we eat to achieve a minimum amount of protein. That's why protein is so important, and it also tells our bodies when we have eaten enough. Oils contain fats, which are essential to make your hormones, and having a diet full of unsaturated fats have been linked to reducing heart diseases. Healthy fats are also in other foods like avocados and salmon. Now, veg and fruits, our 5 and 2s. We've all heard it before, but the reason why we say to eat your veggies is because they are full of fiber, which help keeps you full, regulates your bowels, and improves your gut health, but also because of these cool thing called phytochemicals, which we will get to in a sec. Dairy and alternatives are a good source of protein, but also really important for calcium, which helps prevent your bones from breaking later in life. And finally, your occasional foods, which are for enjoyment, and we will touch on that later. So clearly, there is a lot there, but each type of food has its purpose, and it's really important to include all of these in your diet, and you can always check out how many serves are recommended for you on the Eat for Health website. Back to that new word, phytochemicals. What they do is in their name. They fight for your body. Think phytochemicals. There are many different types of phytochemicals, all with different effects that range from antioxidation to blood pressure lowering. These phytochemicals are naturally present in fruits and vegetables and whole grains, but can also be found in tea, coffee, red wine, and dark chocolate. But remember, with coffee, red wine, and dark chocolate, they have more than just phytochemicals. Alcohol at the end of the day is a toxin, and too much coffee and dark chocolate can still be bad for you. So everything in moderation is totally fine.
So to help meet all your requirements, you can try and use this healthy plate model, which is hard to do all the time, but it's a useful reminder to include veg, whole grains, and protein in your lunches and dinners. So generally we say about a quarter of your plate is a whole grain source of carbs, and then a quarter is protein and half is vegetables. It's missing dairy and fat, so it's not perfect, but it's more a model to be conscious about what's on your plate. So part of eating healthy is recognizing that food is more than just fuel. It's eaten for enjoyment, for celebration, socializing, and bonding with others. This is all part of having a good relationship with food. It's useful to understand, though, why we tend to overeat these processed, less healthy foods. And that's mainly because they're really low in protein and fiber, which means we feel less full. And obviously they taste really good. So it's not surprising when they make up almost 40% of the average Aussie diet. And that number is straight from the latest health survey. We're always surrounded by these occasional foods. So it can be useful to focus on adding foods to your diet because you value their health benefits. For example, adding fruit to your cereal because you want their phytochemicals and fiber, rather than restricting those less healthy foods. Because when you focus on restriction, you put those foods on a pedestal. And when this happens, you are more likely to binge later. For example, you might feel really good about yourself because throughout the week, you didn't eat any chips or chocolate. So on the weekend, you treat yourself, but instead of eating a few small chocolates here and there, you end up eating half a block. You then feel really guilty and the cycle starts all over again. It's much more rewarding to give yourself the freedom to enjoy your soul foods in moderation and not feeling the need to earn these treats through exercise or fasting. A good tip we have, if you want to treat like a chocolate or a packet of chips, have a piece of fruit or vegetable sticks with it to help keep you more full. And this is a key message in this webinar in general. So, one of the most important messages we really want to convey to everyone is that no food should be feared. Food should be celebrated and enjoyed. And here is just some of the food we enjoyed eating in the last 6 weeks while in the Northern Rivers.
Here is an example of how you can spread out your food in your day that helps to meet all of your requirements. The great thing about this plan is that everything is super easy to make. So we have 3 main meals, and each has a good source of carbs, a source of protein, and fats, along with 3 snack times throughout the day. Snacks are actually a great way to help get more fruit, veg, dairy, and whole grains in your diet, which you can also have with a treat if you feel like it, as you can see for morning tea where there's a bit of chocky with the berries. This is just a guide and obviously would change every day depending on what you feel like, your hunger levels, and what you have in stock at home. So for example, we have said stir-fry noodles and veg for dinner, but the noodles can be exchanged for rice, the stir-fry could be a curry or a casserole. Really, your imagination and time is the limit. Last but not least, listen to your body. Using this hunger scale can be really helpful in identifying what you might need to eat. For example, if you're sitting at a 3 where your stomach is growling because you're hungry, a piece of fruit likely won't be enough. You'll probably need a balanced and satiating meal that will make you full. Whereas if you are slightly full but could eat more, so if you're sitting at a 6, going for a full second plate is probably unnecessary. Maybe you just need a piece of fruit or to give yourself time to process your food. So here are our key messages again, and we really just want to reinforce that your diet is crucial as it impacts what your child eats and their relationship with food. But at the end of the day, you are the expert on your family, so always take what we say with a grain of salt and adjust it to how you see fit. Thank you for watching.